Hello guys. So today I'm just going to do a video, and in this video I'm going to explain about um, different realms, the spirit world, and it's a little bit complicated, but I have to look at my old my workshop book where I went to when I got certified in, because I don't want to make it sound like I know everything on this stuff because it's complicated. I mean, I can talk to spirit and they'll give me the information, but when I try to read this stuff, it's I have to try to word it so that you guys would understand what it means, and it is complicated. And I'll do the best I can talk about it. Now, understand that I'm not here to try to persuade people's religion. I'm not here to tell you, if there's a heaven, if there's a hell, or what anything like that. All I am doing is just describing you as a medium what planes mean, what fears mean, but basically what a plane is. Like there's different planes of existence out there. So that's all I'm doing. So if you don't believe in any of this, you don't have to be negative about it. If you don't want to watch this, that's fine too. I'm just here to describe different planes. It's more of like an educational thing for you guys to understand it, I guess, if that makes sense to everybody. So where I'm getting my information is from the Center of Spiritual Enlightenment. It was based in New York City. This is where I got certified in. The person who wrote this book was Jean Carey, and she's a teacher in this work as well. And this is a lot of this stuff that I've learned in this course was all scientifically proven during the spiritualist movement. Hi, everybody, coming through. So, anyways, it's actually really interesting, and how and how things happen. When I do these, when I educate people, I like to share stories as well, like some of the stuff that I've been through, or that I know of and stuff like that. So let's see here. I have to read from this book because it is confusing, and I have to just kind of skim right through it. Okay. So understand that okay, so there's the Earth planet, right? Okay, there's different spheres or different planes. Okay, I was told in this information there are three planes up here. There's Earth, and then there's three planes below. Now, according to this, and according to my own readings, when I connect with the spirit guide, I ask if there is a hell, and there's no hell. Hell hasn't been created yet. Man created hell, and it was written in the Bible, and it's usually to scare people and control people. I understand that. There are different lower realms, though, or what you want to call planes or spheres, whatever you want to call those. And the more, let's see, the more you go lower, the colder it gets and the darker it gets. Now, I'm a Catholic, and I do believe in, there is a purgatory for me. I believe that personally. But I think God has mercy in a lot of these spheres, because when we start owning up to what we've done, taking responsibility, and we start praying and believing in God, and we start showing God that we want to move up. I believe that's when God takes us up there. Hi, everybody's showing up, and I believe that person, God will take you up to those areas. Now, I'm not God, so I don't never pretend. I don't know where people go. All I do is connect with people who are up here. That's where my vibration always is. Um, but it's interesting because I have done a reading for one lady one time, and I don't know if she's on this page or not, so I'm not never going to say her name. I'm just going to kind of make it simple so you understand. I did a phone reading with her, and I connected with her mom, and I just got a weird feeling when I was connecting with her mom, like it wasn't her, but I didn't say anything. And so the girl said, "Paul, why don't you ask my mom what she's done to me?" And so, okay, so I'm not here to convince people about God, the heaven, hell, the Bible, or anything like that. So if you guys want to talk about that stuff, please leave the negativity out of here. I'm not here to debate it. I'm just telling you what I know. This is more education. If you don't want to watch, you have the choice of leaving. But anyway, I connected with the lady on the phone, her mom, and her mom. I just like felt really weird. Well, she was, "Paul, tell my mom what she did to me." So I asked her. I said, "Your daughter wants you to be upfront. What did you do to her?" And then the mom, she was trying to stir the conversation off. So I connected with her again. I said, "What did you do to your daughter? She wants you to talk to her about it. You did something that hurt her." Well, it got that mom really mad, and all I heard was, and I could see her image of this lady, and she looked really scary, like she just screaming, "Oh," like that. Um, and she was just like this with her mouth wide open, like screaming. And then I heard the door, like a door slam, and it kind of blew my mind. And I go, that kind of weirded me out. And she goes, "Why?" And I go, "Because I always usually connect with people up here. I don't know how that happened because that's heaven up here. That's not a that they don't act like that. That's more positive up here. I've never had a spirit do that before. And so I said, your mom was a narcissist. And she said, yeah. And I go, okay, your mom did some evil things and bad things to people, probably her family down here too, and probably other people. And thought she got away with it. So she's down there somewhere. I don't know where she's at, but it really blew my mind. And so understand that, when people are evil, then the more evil, the more evil deeds, the mean things that you do, you're going to go dropping down those levels. Like I said, each level it gets dimmer and colder, and the third, I think the last one is very cold, and that's where people end up going. I believe that's probably where Charles Manson is, and I believe that's probably where Adolf Hitler is, my opinion, but at the very lower realm. Now, I have connected with some parents or some people who were narcissists, and they admit to what they've done wrong. I mean, it just comes out, and the reader will, and just says, usually just want them to say, "I'm sorry, can you forgive me?" And I find that really interesting. So, like I said, I'm not God. I don't know where everybody goes. It's God's way. I just talk about the dimensions and this different areas where what's to expect. Let's see here. I'm just going to skim through this because it's really complicated and how to understand this. It's all about a lot. If you understand the astral planes, it's all about laws of attraction. What we put out comes back to us, as we've seen on Earth. And you may see me talk about this in readings too. If when we're talking and we're looking in the mirror and we don't like the way we look and we're cursing ourselves, and you're really putting that on yourself. You're putting that negativity, you're putting it out there, and it's going to come back to you. And you're always going to be walking around being miserable. Why can't anything ever be good for me? Why can't I lose this weight? I feel so dumb. I feel so dumb. I feel so stupid. So that energy you're putting out there will come back, and it's stuck on you like on your aura. It's not good. And I tell people this too, and usually like in spirit guide readings, I get that quite a bit. And I'll say, you have to change your way of thinking. You can't do that to yourself. You're cursing yourself, basically. And you're never going to get out of that. You got to change your mindset. Every time you get that way, you start praying against it, or you start thinking better thoughts. So whatever you got to do to get out of that, you got to get out of that. You can't be into that. It's all about laws of attraction. What we put out comes back to us. And if you're a good person and you're doing good, yeah, you're going to have some bad stuff, but you avoid that bad stuff. You start focusing more on the positive, and you won't have a lot of that crazy stuff going on all the time. Also, some people, I get this quite a bit too, they do too much for other people, and they're like, Paul, nothing ever good happens in my life. And I'm like, well, that's because it's all about, laws of attraction. What we put out comes back. And you have to learn to love yourself. Go and do something for yourself once a week. Just you, nobody else. You got to get that self-love back in. I mean, that's what it's all about. The Earthbound Spirits that I've talked about too. That I think they talk about that's the first sphere. That is just basically spirits that just don't want to cross over. They just stay where they're at. There's many reasons why spirits don't cross over. Some want to get even because of their death. Some have unresolved issues. Some are stuck for many reasons. They're stuck in the death state. Some are, it's complicated. People ask me, why do people get stuck? And that's the main reason why people get stuck, is just because sometimes they choose to, or they don't know they're just stuck in that area. That's the first plane. Let's see here. I just want to skim through this. There's too many. I think there's 7 spheres on here, and it's just complicated because if I read it one paragraph to you at a time, it just seems complicated. But the higher the 3 higher dimensions are the Earth 1, 2, 3, and you got these other ones that are up here. Okay, I don't know. I think the highest one is where God resides. Everything's all holy and bright up there. I think the lowest. I think the first. I mean, it just goes. It's like this. But what's interesting when I do my readings with people, and when I connect with spirits, and they say they're in heaven or up there, a different realm or whatever. It's always saying they always basically say that their reality is more real than our reality down here. And I never understood what that meant. But everything is perfect up there. Everything's beautiful, and I believe that the higher it gets, the more the energy gets higher, and it's just more beautiful and more happier. But I believe that the more you start doing better, I mean, the more you believe, the more you glorify God, and I mean, you just stay away from evil, and you just do the best you can to higher the basically the higher the sphere you go to, if that makes sense to everybody. Yeah, this is too confusing. I would study this for like weeks, and I still, if I even still try to communicate, I mean, explain it to everybody, it would still confuse people. It's just really, it's interesting, but it's hard to understand. Um, Hi, everybody, just showing up. Yeah, I don't know. Let me see here. Somebody was asking a question. I thought, hold on. Jessica says, I've always heard that there are on a plane above, are never thought about plane below. Yeah, there's three above and three below, as far as I was told through the training I got. My spirit guide told me the same thing. Catholics believe that there's a purgatory, and I think that might be one of the planes. Um, but the hell that the Christianity in the Bible talks about hasn't happened yet. And that supposedly that happens during the tribulation when God comes and takes over again when he talks about the fiery lake. Hi everybody that's shown up. So that's why I look at that part. The middle earth is right between the higher and the lower realms. So we're like so that the earth, that's where we're at. That's the middle realm. I am well, thanks, Carla. Now, um, when I do connect with usually spirits, when you see me and I do my readings and stuff, you'll see me looking around and you'll see, and I'm getting visions and everything. But what I try my best to do is look behind that spirit. Like when I'm doing a reading for somebody, as you see, and I do in these videos, I'll describe to you what that person looks like, what they're wearing, and I try to look behind them as well, and to give that person more validation. Like, oh, they're near water. Last night I did a reading for a lady and her two boys. They were teenagers. I think no, one was I think a younger man. One was in his early 30s, and they were both at a playing basketball, like a basketball outside, a basketball court. And I described what it looked like, and that was validation for them, and it helped them. Maria's asking about, can I tell her anything about Santeria? Okay, so I'm not going to try to judge people about if they want to believe in Santeria or not. I can tell you what I know about it, and what everything my readings have told me about it. It's not okay. So if something, let's just look at it this way: if something looks evil or dark, then it probably could. Then that's what it is. If something's evil and pretending to do good, it's not what it is. Does that make sense? Santeria, I don't want to do this because I don't want to offend anybody. So if I offend you, you're going to have to forgive me ahead of time. I'm not trying to be judgmental. It's okay. If you're a Catholic, Santeria is not part of that religion. They want to say that skeleton-looking guy is a saint. He's not. That thing is not a saint. It's an opposite of the saint. It's a demon, and it's basically there to snare people. And that's what I've been told. It's not. It's not a good thing. You don't. As A saint would have they have a face, they've got a halo, they look perfect, they look angelic. That thing looks like a death, and it's not good. You know, and it's creepy because when I look at that Santeria, that Saint Sant, I don't know what his name is, but I look at his face. What are people talking to? What are they worshiping? You can't really see a face, you just see a skeleton. How do you know who you're talking to? You know, that's what kind of creeps me out about that. I don't trust that. That's just me though. But I've heard people say that this thing has helped them financially and other things, and I don't know. My opinion, it's just like a snare of the devil to get somebody back into something dark. I would not trust it. That's just my opinion. If you want to, that's cool. It's just not what I would do. You always trust your vibes. It's if I'm around somebody, maybe about five or less than 5 or 10 minutes, I can really pick up what kind of person they are, and that's probably why I'm single a lot because, and I stay to myself a lot because there's a lot of things I pick up on people. And I try to give people the benefit of the doubt, but then again, they prove themselves, and it's just for me, it's kind of like one of those things I'm always cautious with. Um, I don't know much about that. All I know is about the Santerias when I watched it on online one time, and I read a few things about it, and I just didn't like the vibe I got from that. To me, it's not good. It's something that's going to try to snare people away from what was good. That's about how I look at it, and it's not good for the soul. Later on, that stuff usually gets back to people. Yeah, there are people, I call them psychic vampires. They do drain your energy. And a lot of those psychic vampires I find are usually the narcissistic ones as well. I'll be around one for about 5 or 10 minutes and I'm already drained. Um, yeah, those are the ones you got to watch out for sure. All narcissistic people I've ever met. I mean, every narcissistic person, actually, if you heard narcissist, the first thing you should think of is sociopath because they're not normal in their head. That's narcissist is always a sociopath. A sociopath is like a sociopath is like a wolf going to the sheep. Sheep are the empaths, how I look at it, and the narcissists are the wolves. And to the narcissist, the empaths are the weak ones, which is not true because actually the empaths are actually the stronger ones. I believe that people are praying to that Santa Maria. I think they're asking it for favors all the time. You know, I don't know, and I try to, there's some really good people out there. I pick up on good people too, but a lot of times I pick up on some bad people, and I think sometimes at that moment when I'm meeting somebody, am I just picking up on that personality of that day, or am I picking up on who they really are? And that's why I always end up getting myself, burnt or hurt because I think, well, I'm gonna give them a chance. Let's see what they're like, and I do, and then I end up getting burnt. And I'll probably never learn that lesson in life because that's just who I am. I like to give people another chance. I want to see who they really are. But at the same time, there's some vibes that give me the weirdest feeling, and I will back away really quick. How do spirits attach? Are they living in us? Yes, I'd say yes. The first time I've seen a spiritual attachment, a girl was sitting across from me, and I'm doing a reading, and I keep seeing a little shadow right back here, and it would look, and then it would hide. And usually, what I usually find is that they're usually right here. I don't know what it is. It's like they hang on their backs, and they draw their energy from people. And I've seen after that I could see more of that later on with people, and I know what it is. So I'll ask the person. I'll say, so do you always feel like you're being drained? And they're like, oh yeah, when I wake up, I go, do you always get nightmares? Yeah. Do you always have like weird things happen to you, like in the kitchen and something falls and you don't know where it came from? And they're like, yeah. And I'll just ask them all these series of questions, and I'll say, well, what did you do to get this thing attached to you? Sometimes people do, and sometimes they don't know what they're doing to get these things attached to them. There's many reasons why. And if the person doesn't understand, I'll connect with my spirit guide to find out how that spirit got attached to them. And then they were like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Now, I had one girl come to me, and I said, you have an attachment. And she's like, oh my God. And she goes, there's ways of getting rid of these things. Don't worry. It's pretty easy. If you do, if you listen to me, you can get rid of it. But I told her, I go, you were practicing meditating before you went to sleep. And so that's what she told me. And that's how it happened. Because she didn't do anything. She wasn't messing with anything occult, or she wasn't, doing, sometimes you can do stuff to get attachments. You don't know you're doing them. And she wasn't an alcoholic. She wasn't a drug addict or anything like that. So every night for her spirituality, she used to meditate so it would help her go to sleep at night. And she wasn't, but the thing she didn't understand or nobody ever taught her was that she needs to protect herself. When you meditate, when you do yoga, you should always protect yourself. We have, oh, now my brain is dead again. Oh, what is it called? Oh, my brain. Chakras. Okay, that's what it was, chakras. Okay. We have chakras all the way through. We got chakras here, right here, all these chakras. Okay, even on top of our head. Now, chakras are, when I've seen them, they look like pinwheels, and I've seen them before. They really look like they're spinning pinwheels. And what a chakra is, it's like a portal that's within us, if that makes sense to everybody. We have those little portals. And that's where we get our energy. That's where we get some of our information, our spiritual stuff that we need to know. And when you're meditating and your chakras are open, And then there's, for instance, there's an earthbound spirit wandering around. Yeah, that thing's gonna jump on you, connect to you, and start feeding off your energy. Okay, sometimes they give you bad luck. And I'll tell people when I want to learn to meditate or do yoga, I said you need to always protect yourself. I can't stress that enough because that's one of the main reasons why people, I mean, that does happen to people. You know, they don't mean for it to happen, it just happens. Meditation is very good for the soul, it's very good for your mind, it's very good for your body. But when we can't pray, if we don't protect ourselves, asking God for protection or keeping the white light of protection on us or both, then, you know, that could happen. I read, I was reading a book about this priest, and he's like one of the lead priests in the Vatican that does exorcisms. And he warns about people when they're doing yoga because he says when like thousands of years ago, I can't remember how he said it, but certain yoga poses will attract certain negative entities around people, and they end up getting either possessed or they get attachments on them. And then I didn't know that. I thought that was interesting. You know, when you see certain yoga poses and you learn about yoga, it seems like it's of the light. But you know, some of that stuff I often wonder: is it really of the light? I mean, if people don't know what they're doing, I mean, if they're not protecting themselves, yeah, that stuff could happen. Because I guess that priest was saying something about when you do a certain yoga poses are like, how do you put it? Like some like the demonic, with how they would stand or how they would, you know, pose like that, and it would attract those evil spirits to people. I don't know. I don't know. I just thought that was interesting, but it does kind of go with where I'm going at with the meditating thing. Like, you got to always protect yourself. That's all I can tell. Always protect yourself. That's my dog back there. That's Jake. He's the old one. And then I got the other one chewing on something down there. Yeah, my dogs are trying to keep warm. It's been like really cold in Montana. I woke up, it was minus 20 degrees. Yes, cleanse yourself as well. Lisa says she's so tired of being drained by people that don't care anything about, but always lie and say they do when they know they are insulting your intelligence. I know, Lisa. I've met so many people. I don't know what it is. This last, I don't know, maybe 5 years. I'm noticing more evil, more darkness in this world, and maybe it's just because I'm seeing too much on social media and on the news. I don't know, but I'm also seeing it in stores. I've seen so much racism, so much hate, so much anger, so much people just getting, you know, I felt, and I pray for people because I see that um, they're meant, you know, some people have mental issues and they can't deal with this stuff, having to be stuck in the house when this pandemic is going on, and it's affecting a lot of people. But there's also evil coming through all this, you know, and I feel bad. I do, and I pray for a lot of these people, and I just wish that, you know, that this would just get over with and go back to normal again. Um, I don't know what it is, but I just feel like I'm just starting to see the slide from the good kind of going this way, like going to the opposite, and I don't like that. And when that starts to happen, it's a decline in our country, it's a decline in humanity, and you know, everything, and everything that we do as people will affect this earth. And I believe that everything we put out, even as numbers of people, well, we all put out that same energy. You know, it's gonna keep coming back to us until something bigger comes. And I don't want to say that to scare people, but I don't want to see that. I rather see people doing good. I rather see people helping each other, praying for each other. You know, I got to work on myself too, and I'm catching myself doing stuff like that too, and I get in trouble too, and I got to stop that. I'm human, but I'm just saying that we all got to try to find ways of making it better. It's just a little drop of water in the ocean, but we got to try something. There's just too much of it going on, and I don't like it. It's kind of scares me in a way. It's hard to stay away from negative people when there's more negative people in this world anymore. It's just, and then your group of friends or the group of family that you have, it's just, you know, you got to hold on to what you got right now, and the good people. You know, even the people that were narcissists just seem to be even more crazier in their narcissism than I've seen before. And every time I see anything with racism going on, that just shows there's a lot more darkness and evil going on. And I've experienced it. I've been with family in my past who have experienced it, and I've seen it. When people say, "Oh, there's no such thing as racism," that was like 60 years ago. Bull crap! It's always going on, but I've seen it more now. Um, I stand up for people online on here when I see crap like that. I'll stand up. I can't stand watching somebody bully somebody or be racist to them. I won't do that. As a human, I can't deal with that. And I will always stand up against those kind of people. And that's what's gotten me in trouble in the past on Facebook. Yeah, it's a sad thing. But Jessica saying, will spirits have any efforts with anxiety, with like the feeling of being pulled away? Well, when you're a spirit, if you don't cross over, you're in your death state, and if you suffered anxiety and depression, you're probably going to have that on the earth until you cross over into the light where you should be, where everything gets renewed and everything is perfect. But if you stay down here, you're going. If you're an alcoholic, you're a drug addict, you're going to be wandering all these old houses until you find somebody that's got an addiction, and then you're going to attach yourself to that person because you need that feeling of when you were alive too. And that's kind of another reason why some spirits like to attach some people. And if you've ever been to or heard of an alcoholics or a drug addict, they always talk about shadow people in their house. That's kind of what's going on there. I believe, yeah, we all need to start finding ways of getting back to God. And if you ever notice that when I'm doing readings, especially my live readings, you'll see many times that somebody's spirit guide will always say you need to get back with God, and it's always true. We're finding ourselves away from Him, and when again, that's another time when we're away from God. It's the decline of of human, of our human humanity again, and that's not good. And what we put out is going to keep manifesting until we start manifesting better and start loving and trying caring for each other, volunteering, you know, not putting people down, stay away from the politics online. That's part of that, the evil. I find myself doing it, and I'm starting to see that there's some evilness within that stuff. Either side, I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican, there's evilness in there, and people get drawn into it, and all of a sudden they're either far right or far left. I used to be right in the middle, but now I'm finding I'm just more one side than the other, and I hate that, and I don't want to be that way. So I'm just trying to find my way of pushing myself away from that, because that's part of the issues what's going on in this world. It's called a lot of hate and anger. Jessica, if you have bad anxiety, I would probably say I wonder if you might have you meet sometimes some people have anxiety. It could mean that you have an ability. I don't know if you do or not because I'm not doing a reading on you, but sometimes that could be a sign of somebody with an ability and they don't know how to use it and it causes anxiety. It could be and if that's the case, I would suggest that you learn to meditate. And it's going to be hard for you and you may not want to, but if you learn to meditate daily, 5 to 10 minutes a day I'd say during the prayer time. You keep doing that, you're going to notice that that anxiety slowly starts going away. That overthinking, it's not going to be there anymore. I used to be always like that, always worrying, but when I meditate, often it goes away. I never worry anymore. That's the natural medicine. You don't need pills all the time for that. You can learn to meditate right, and it will go away. Exercising, getting more, getting when the sun's out and the blue sky is out when it's nicer. Get out there more. There's no excuse, but if you try and push yourself, you're going to get better. You will. But try to meditate more and try to get out and get some sun when the sun's better. Get some exercise. Go for walks. Go out to nature. Being an empath is very exhausting. I've always been a big empath. All mediums are empaths, but being a male empath is hard because you're always being told you can't show your feelings. You can't talk like that. You can't show any emotion. So I was always stuffing that, and it's probably why also another reason why I suffered from anxiety growing up as well. And I find a lot of people who are empathic are anxiety driven too. Everybody needs to get back with God. Amen to that, Kathleen. I agree. And if people don't believe in God that are on my page, I'm not judging you. even those kind of people can start doing better for other people. Just start showing some love and compassion. That's all what this earth needs. There's people that are on my page that don't believe in God, and I respect that. But I just say just open. Everybody can just try something to help each other out. That's all. What we put out comes back to us. Yes, about manifesting. Good point, Rainbow. Yeah, we manifest what we put out. What comes back, and every just I don't know. I'm trying to stay away from that. So I mean, the politics. That's what gets me in trouble, and all that stuff online. So I'm just trying to be more careful this time. Well, thanks, Kathleen. But I mean, it's so weird in certain cultures and different areas where people are raised, I guess, because it took me a long time to be okay with that. Just be shown who I am and my feelings and everything. Because if you do, you're considered a wussy. You're supposed to be a man. Man ain't supposed to show about their feelings. Well, you know what happens to people that don't express or talk about their feelings? Again, you're manifesting that stuff that inside, and you're not doing anything about it. And some people have more mental issues than others, and eventually some people do take their lives because of it, or get addictions. And that's what's sad about that, because they have so much they want to talk or say or feel, but they can't. They're not allowed to. And and I think just by repressing anything, it's just going to keep power. It's just going to keep rolling and rolling. You gotta get it out, and that's part of being. And people will say, "Well, Paul, I'm blocked being spiritual," and a lot of that is because I'll tell people. A lot of that is because you got to learn to forgive yourself, forgive others, and you got to let whatever that is you're holding in. That's part of what's holding you back. You got to either journal it out, talk to somebody, or do something. You can't hold that in. And that's why people get stuck spiritually. And I get that many times with my readings. Well, thanks, Lisa. I don't know if I like a lot of guys like me. I think if there was a lot of guys like me, there'd be a lot of troublemakers out there. I like to. I mean, I'll admit I'm a troublemaker, but I don't do it to cause problems. I like to do it to have fun. My family knows I'm a jokester. I like to play jokes. I don't do it to be mean to hurt to people. I'm too. If I hurt somebody, I would feel horrible. I would, and I've learned my lessons in my past for joking too much, and people are like that. So I'm always cautious. I have to get to know somebody so that they know how I'm joking with them. And people know that when in my personal life, they know that if they're around me, if I'm joking with them, that means I like you. If I give you a nickname, I joke with you all the time. That means I like you. That's how I am. But where I am in my life, I've always been that way since I was a little kid. I'm always praying. My brain is always, if I hear a siren go by that's down in my town or down the street, I pray for the responders and I pray for the person or people that they're helping. Um, I'm always, if I see a homeless person and I've checked my car and my pockets, if I don't have change or money, I pray for them right away. I can't, I can't go by somebody, ignoring somebody when I know that they are in need. That bothers me. And so I just go right, and even if I'm in the middle of doing a reading, I have to quickly stop and tell the spirit to hold on and say a quick prayer, and then I go back to my reading. It's just who I am. I think I think my mom kind of taught me that when I was younger too. Maybe that's why it was so instilled in me, and it just kind of gets to me. I think everybody needs prayer. Do I believe in karma? Absolutely. I believe in good karma and I believe in bad karma, Heidi, because that's what we were talking about earlier. What we manifest comes back to us. And I was saying that earlier. Some people look at their bodies or their image in the mirror and they put themselves down. They think they're ugly. They think they're stupid. All those negative thoughts that are not you. They're probably coming from another place. But you got to pray against that. You got to bind it. You got to look at yourself better. If you want, there's some really beautiful people out there that are overweight. I don't. To me, ugly is a narcissism. I don't care how beautiful you look on the outside. You're uglier than sin if you're a narcissist. That's how I look at it. Any person that I find is a narcissist, they're ugly. And I'm not going to be afraid of judging them that way because that's what they are. I don't feel sorry for a narcissist. I will never feel sorry for a narcissist. They never felt sorry for me. They never felt sorry for anybody but themselves. So maybe that's the bad part of me I got to work on too, but I don't care. They're ugly to me. I will stay away from a narcissist. I'll stay as far away as I can if I find one, and I'll tell them to stay away from me. I can't deal with them. I have no patience for that drama. Thank you, Debbie. But the good karma we're talking about is when you start doing good things for yourself. At least once a week, buy yourself a cupcake, buy yourself a steak. You girls, go buy yourself a dress. Guys, go buy something that you like to do. Like go play golf. Just do something just for you one day out of the week. That's all you got to do. It's kind of like loving yourself. It's all it is learning to give that love back. But when we're looking in the mirror, hating ourselves, it goes out there and it starts to snowball on us again. Then we start getting that self pity. We can't do that. God never made us to do that. You know, if you want, you start loving people more, giving people hugs, checking on people, volunteering. You want to feel good, and you want to feel like you've done something for humanity. Go do something without using your cell phone or asking for anything in return. That's going to give you the best feeling ever. When I give a homeless person money, I always pray at that moment and ask that that money goes to where it needs to go. And if the homeless person doesn't use that money for where it goes, that's between them and God. But I do pray for that person at that moment. All I know is that I'm doing the best that I can as a human, and that's where I want to be. I'm not a perfect human in no way. I sin every day like everyone, but at least I'm trying to make a little bit of difference, and that's where I'm at. Yes, Kathleen, right. We're all made in God's image. Nobody is ugly. I'm just talking about the narcissist personality. That's ugly to me. To me, that's sinful. It's demonic, and I don't like it. That's just me, though. I agree, Rainbow. It's like don't say you hate the narc, but hate the behavior. That's basically what I'm trying to say. I don't hate the narcissist. I hate with their behavior. That's basically what I'm trying to say. Their behavior is ugly. To me, it's demonic, and it's dark, and I don't like it. Thanks, Dion. And if anybody's ever been hurt by a narcissist, they understand what I'm talking about. You learn. So we're all given lessons in this life. And I never thought that I would ever have to deal with another narcissist in my life again. I thought they were rare. When I was in grade school, I had a reading disorder, so I'd have to leave my regular class, and I would have to go to this resource class so they teach me to read better. And there was all these different kids from different grades in that one class. Well, there was a teacher there. I'm not going to throw her name out because I don't care. I'll throw every narcissist out. I don't care. The people need to know who these people are. Her name was Judy Joner, and she had her hair all blonde, put on her makeup. She's always dressed to the nines, these big old boots all the way up to her knees, and she was wearing this perfume. Well, this perfume was just always giving me a headache when I was a kid. But anyway, um, kids in that class were struggling. Okay, they're struggling. Some of these kids had bad home lives, and some of these kids, they're just learning disabilities. Well, Judy would. I mean, that Miss Jonah. I was going to call her Judy Jonah. She would be in there, and I'd watch her in that classroom. And one time she would. This one kid was just raised his hand. He wasn't doing anything. She grabbed a big dictionary like this. I think it was probably this size or thicker, and she goes like this. And she's like this, like she's going to throw the football. She hits that poor kid in the head, and that he wanted to cry, but I think he was holding it in. It was in the fifth grade. She'd get these long nails, point them at your chest. You'd go home with these big old bruises on your chest. My mom yelled at her a few times to knock her crap off, but she'd wait for a while and do it again. I thought I was all done with that. I didn't know what a narcissist was at that time. I just knew that lady was evil. Well, junior high comes around, or high school. I'm going to church with my mom, and I would look across, and there she was. And the whole time when our priest would be talking, she'd just be sitting there glaring at me like she was trying to intimidate me. And it didn't work. And I would tell my mom, I go, look at her. What's going on? Why is she doing that? And then she'd turn away because she knew my mom was looking at her. An evil woman. So, again, you guys know my story about my stepmom and everything. Her name is Brenda Wolf, but it's a long story with her too, causing drama. But anyway, I'm just trying to get to the point where I had to learn lessons in this life, how to deal with these people, how to keep myself away from these people. And a lesson that I had to learn so I can empathize with the people who deal with narcissistic abuse. Because now I understand it. And it was a lesson I had to learn. And it's a tough lesson. But I had to learn that so I can help you guys. Well, she shouldn't have been allowed to teach. I agree. And you know what's wrong with that, Kathleen? She's a superintendent in Butte High School now. Yeah. She manipulated her ways and her sex appeal all the way to being a superintendent in Butte High in Montana. How's that? And some of those kids I've seen when I go back home, and they're not doing good. That she could have done a positive role by trying to show a little compassion, a little bit more help, but she was just there for the money and for the power. Some of those kids were in there for more. I mean, I was just in there for reading, but a lot of these kids were in there because of other reasons, and it was sad. I look back on that, and it makes me sad. Let's see. Agreed. Is it karma from past lives to live with narcs today in our time? I wonder that. I don't know. I mean, for me, I look at it this way. I look at it, I had to learn this lesson, like I said earlier, so I can help other people, so I can empathize. I had to learn hard lessons in my life. I lost my soulmate when I was younger, in my 20s. I've lost a best friend on a head-on collision with a semi-truck. My old roommate, I was roommates for a long time with. My mom, my stepdad, everybody that was close to me was gone. But I had to learn those lessons in order for me to sympathize when I'm doing readings. And I think a lot of mediums that kind of do this, that are out, that kind of do this kind of work, will always seem to have similar stories too, because they always, and it's always a learning lesson, but it's something I had to learn, if that makes sense. It's not an easy one. And, but I'm glad I had to learn them. I'm in some ways I'm kind of grateful, because otherwise I wouldn't know what a narcissist was when it came through my readings. I wouldn't know, much about pain from losing your mom or your best friend or your soulmate. I wouldn't have known that. I probably would have felt bad, but I wouldn't have felt it really feel, if that makes sense. So I empathize with that more. And and maybe it's another learning, more lessons I need to learn from narcissists. I don't know. If I keep getting them in my life, then I'm gonna have to learn. Maybe there's something else I need to learn from them. But maybe I need to learn to. It's hard to forgive them. It's hard to forgive them. But when you do forgive them, you let them go, and you don't. For me, I don't have no contact with them. I had to forgive so I can move on with my life, but I don't forget, and that's where I'm at with that. Yeah, this world right now, Rainbow. I don't know what's going on in this world. It's really chaotic. I agree. Um, she's wondering in the past year with this strange, unusual deception and current family dynamics. I agree. There's a lot of deception in this world, and people that are not of the light and they pretend to be of the light, they'll follow that deception that we see in this world, and I've seen that online. And I think to myself, you call yourself, and I think to myself, they call themselves that they're doing good and they're doing of the light. But are they? I mean, are they that deceived that they believe what's really going on in the evil in this world? Like, and I try not to judge them, but I feel sorry for them. I'm like, they don't have no clue. They would, if this Antichrist were to come, there's probably the same kind of people that would vote for them. I don't understand people the way they think, and I try not to, but it drives me nuts. So I don't know. It's just so much stuff building up. The politicians, all the presidents, past presidents, everything. It's horrible. But I don't want to get into politics. I just think that, but that is part of what's going on in this world, and people will go. They're never in the middle anymore. They're far right or far left, and there's so much deception that you find online. There's so many lies. There's so much crap going on, and people will believe it without going online to find out if it's true or not. They'll see something, a meme, or they'll see something that somebody thought that posted off of a YouTube channel that supposedly they think is true, and all of a sudden it goes viral and everybody believes it. That's deception. And then it goes both ways in both parties. I don't like it. Somebody posts, I had a relative of mine post something on my page that was from YouTube during the election, and I got mad and I yelled at him for it. And he goes, "Well, Paul, you should have just stopped and looked at it. It was about this rapper talking about peace." I go, "I don't care. If it looks like if anybody posts something on my page and it doesn't even show that it's even a critical a critical page where it should be that it's mainstream media, that it's normal news, I have nothing. I don't want to read it. There's too much lies out there, and I don't want to hear about it. You can't even some of the news you can't believe, but it's hard to believe anything anymore, to watch anything, and you have to separate yourself from that because you fall into it, and it gets too crazy. You've become part of the craziness in this world. But it will get, my readings say things do get better. It just can take time. People are still upset about the last election. And things do get better. It will. I don't know. I mean, and then I start seeing so much things online that the end of the world is coming. This is what's going on. This is what's going on. And and every time there's a change in the world, you get all these prophets, these psychics, these pastors that come on here, and they start scaring people with fear. And when I do my readings, it was never like that. It's just, and it gets me frustrated. And I warn people, don't be listening to that, because my, even my spirit guide said if we were in those times, it would be far more difficult living now. I mean, living than it is now. We're not in that times yet. Yes, we may be slowly going into that direction, but we're not there yet. So don't push it. And people, it just seems like people, when they bring that stuff up with that fear, it feels like they're pushing it more, and it's frustrating because it's not. And I know a psychic, and I'm kind of friends with her, and she posts that stuff on her page, and I can't say anything because I don't, and I've had brought things to her attention that this, but be careful what you're posting. But I think some of these psychics or these mediums will go on these pages and read what other psychics will say, and then automatically just follow it and pretend it's like it's their reading. It's not. You're bringing fear into the world. A real psychic, a real medium doesn't bring fear in the world. If you're a pastor, if you're a priest, you don't bring fear. That's not of God. Spiritual people know that. And that's what gets me angry. Anything that brings fear, whether it be politics or spiritual stuff, when you bring fear, it's not good. It's not of God. Yes, I know about the revelation. I don't know if we're living in the revelation. My spirit guide says we're not, but during those times, it's going to get worse for us when the time comes. I think, like I said, we're slowly going into it, but we're not there yet. I think again, if people in this world need to start changing their vibration a little bit better, helping each other out, loving each other, start showing more compassion. Stop being bullies, stop being racist, stop lying, stop deceiving. Oh, that's funny. I'm sorry. My little puppy keeps coming back with this toy, and he puts it next to my feet, so I grab it and I just toss it. Sorry about that. But I think, when I do see the stuff, and I can understand how the temptation is, where people will go online on Facebook and say, we're going to the end times. Understand that. I do get that, because it is scary. We're seeing a lot of evil that I've ever seen in my past, in my life. And I don't know, maybe it's just because the media, or the internet, exaggerates it more. I don't know. But it shouldn't, the media is not always of the light either. I mean, they're not always telling the truth. I wish that there would be a law placed that says you can't be biased of either being Republican or Democrat. You're just going to have to report the news. And if you go too far one way or go too far the other way, it's you get fined for that. I wish that Congress could do that, because this is another reason why we're having so many difficult problems of people believing anything anymore. And it is part of the media. I'll admit, a lot of the deception is part of the media. A lot of it's because people make stuff up online. A lot of it's from the politicians. It's everywhere. People say something, then automatically it's the truth without people going back to double checking things. And I don't want to make this political. I'm just saying that both parties are guilty of it. And I don't know. When I see bad stuff, I always want to. I mean, I'm always wanting to fight against it. I'm always wanting to try to show people, and this is not true. You got to be careful. Blah blah blah. I can't control somebody, but I'm trying to let them know. Be careful what you do. And it is like awakening of soul. For those who are willing to hear it, there's just so much going on. But I do know it's going to get better. I don't know for how long, but I know things will slowly start getting better. There is hope. My readings always keep saying there's hope. This virus thing, I don't know. Do you guys remember when I posted that thing on my page? I can't say the word because I might get banned on here too. I'm just going to call it the virus. And it was last March I posted about the virus, and it was on there for a while, but somebody reported me because you can't use that word, the C virus on there, because you get in trouble, and I got banned for it for a long time for that one. So anyway, I remember what it told me. It was pretty accurate. At one point, it said that there's going to be a vaccination, and it's going to help calm things down and things get a little bit easier. I remember that part. No, they didn't kick. I mean, I'm just taking some time off, Heidi. I was doing too much at one time, and sometimes Spirit will remind me the hard way that I got to slow down. If I do too much, I just exhaust myself, and it's not good. So sometimes I got to slow down. Yeah, the C word of the virus. I can't say the word on here, Rainbow. It's that virus that's going around. Because when I used that word last time, I was banned for over a month. No, it was a prediction. It was very long because everybody wanted to know what was going to happen with this virus, and I wrote about it. And a lot of it, I remember a lot of people would say, this is, and they'd come back to me saying, Paul, that what you're saying and that was so true, and blah blah blah. And it wasn't me. I'm like, well, I'm just a messenger. But somebody, yeah, they don't. Sorry, Facebook doesn't like it when you use that word because you'll get flagged and get banned, and that's what happened. And I wish I would have copied that so I can show it on here, but I don't. I think it's gone forever now. But things do get better though. They think things are getting better. There is a video I think I posted on here about it, but I don't remember if I did or not. It's been a while. Might be part of what it was about. You can go back and check on this page, or maybe my YouTube, my Facebook page. I don't think it was. It might still be there. But if you guys ever start listening to pastors, prophets, psychic mediums that say the end of the world's coming, you got to prepare. It's not. I call BS on that stuff. They're just going on YouTube channels and they're all feeding off of each other, and they're all saying they're using their ego, saying it's them. It's not true. Many times I keep asking my spirit guide that, and I think he's getting annoyed with me. But I keep saying, is we in the end of the world? And he goes, no. He goes, it's all fear. It's all about control. But things get better. So I won't be on Facebook this Sunday, but I'll be on Facebook next Sunday. I just got a couple weeks off just to make sure everything's good. I think I just got to get that because I was doing so much and I was getting so drained, and it was affecting my headaches. I was getting migraines all the time, and I thought it was my allergies, but it turned out it was just too much. So that's why once in a while I just got to step back and take some breaths. But I'm okay. Nothing's wrong with me. I'm just gotta take my time a little bit with this stuff. It takes a lot out of you. Because I do a lot of phone readings and then I do one-on-one readings too. So, I mean, between the radio readings and then live readings on here, it's just adding too much. So I just had to take some steps back a little bit. Hi, Michelle. I'm good. How are you? Yeah, it is. And I gotta watch. And when you're doing this kind of work, sometimes people like this that do this kind of work overdo it, and we don't know we're overdoing it. And sometimes spirit has to kick you in the buttons to remind you got to slow it down. Yeah, I'm okay though. It's just if I do it too much, it's just gonna. So every time a medium does a reading, like every time we do a reading, it takes a little bit out of us, a little bit out of us. And one medium told me, she goes, "You ever notice that psychics or psychic mediums don't live very long? It's because every time we do a reading, it takes a little bit more out of us. Every reading takes a little bit more out. So we have to learn to take care of ourselves better. And I need to start finding other ways of taking care of myself back to where I used to be too." Does anybody else have anything else to talk about? I got like 5 more minutes. I wanted to talk about the different planes that they're talking about. But when I opened up that book, I remembered it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot how hard that is to understand. I mean, I understand it, but if I were to describe the seven planes of it, what's going on, it just seems like it's really crazy, and it just seems too wordy, and I don't want to spend all that time reading about it. Nature does help, Debbie, and I miss that, and I need to get back out in nature. It's just that the weather here has been so below zero, like 20 degrees. I woke up, it was minus 20 degrees this morning. It's been like that this last week and this week, so I think next week it's going to start warming up. I can't wait. You too, Lisa. Thank you. I agree, Heidi. But some people get too sensitive and they start, and you get people with mental health issues and narcissistic people. I had one girl. She was trolling me, and I didn't realize it because I was feeding into her, and I should have known better. And so what she did was she said that I was harassing her, which wasn't true because at the end of the night, we quit talking during that day. It was the end of it. I thought it was done. So the next morning, she said something to me, and I responded, and then she says I was harassing her, which that wasn't true because it wouldn't make sense. Why are you coming to me the next day saying I'm harassing you when you're the one that came to me? It doesn't make any sense. So then she notified Facebook, and then I got in trouble for that too. So yeah, that's just narcissism stuff, troublemaking stuff. People enjoying watching people get in trouble. But she didn't know that I went back and I also um, flagged her page and sent and showed it to Facebook that she was trying to get me in trouble. So yeah, you got to be careful with people out there. I can't wait for it to get warm. I can't wait for the virus to slow down and quit. I miss traveling. I used to travel a lot and do like these readings. If God wants the world to come to an end, that's on his term. We none of us really know that, but when it happens, it will happen, and I'm sure it will happen. But I don't know if we'll be here or not. I'm not too worried about it. I know but I know it will happen. But if it happens, maybe I will be prepared. I don't know it will happen when it will happen. I know I'm not afraid of death. I know what to expect on the other side. I'm looking forward to when that time comes. I hear so much good things about it. It's just a transition into the next life. But I'm not too worried about it. As long as you the best you can do on this earth and the best person you can be, and we're all gonna sin, but just do the best you can. That's all you can do. Every saint that's out there was a sinner. They've all. I mean, some done. There's some saints that have done more sin than you would think they shouldn't be a saint, but they are. Well, thank you, Heidi. But I don't know. I just thought I'd stop by and say hi really quick. I'm gonna let my dogs go outside for a minute, but I might stop by again maybe next week on here like this again. We'll see how things go. And you guys stay safe. And I won't be on Facebook this Sunday, but next Sunday I will for sure. All right. Take care.